Hello, everybody. I'm very thrilled that on Cricket Chronicles with Chandresh, I've got Trent Johnson, the head coach of Hong Kong, with me. And Trent does not require any introduction. We all remember him from the chicken dance that he used to do as a player. And here he is in a new role, in a new avatar with us. Trent, welcome to this chat with me. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, all good. Thank you very much for having me.
Trent, big game against India, first game in this Asia Cup. How are you looking forward to this contest? Because you've never played India or Pakistan in a T20 international.
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. You talk about both those teams ranked number 1 and 3 in the world, and we're positioned at 23. So it looks a bit of a mismatch on paper, but certainly know the boys are up for it. Obviously a lot of our players have Indian or Pakistan heritage. So to go against, some of the players they've looked up to and idolised for years, and to get an opportunity to go out there and play cricket against them and here in the Asia Cup, I think it's, a fitting way to finish what's been a pretty long tour for us.
How's the preparation been for your team? And how would you sum up the preparation for your side leading up into the Asia Cup?
Yeah, I think it's been a mixture of 50 over and 20 over cricket. We left Hong Kong on the 1st of June to embark on first was a 50 over campaign. Then we went to Zimbabwe for the World T20 qualifiers, which unfortunately we didn't get through. Then on to Jersey to play another 50 over competition. And then culminated in, the qualifiers in Oman. So we were fortunate enough to get through there. We played some pretty good cricket over those 3 games, went through there undefeated. And now it leaves us with the giant task of competing against India and Pakistan. So preparation has been very good. The guys have played a lot of cricket. So it's probably more about sort of rest and refreshing the guys over this sort of period since we've arrived in Dubai. But the guys have been very good. We've had a couple of training sessions. We'll have a light session tonight. And then, relax tomorrow morning before the big game against India.
I just wanted to take your mind back to the Asia Cup qualifier, which happened just about a week back. How big was it to be able to get through beating likes of UAE, the host country in this case, though Sri Lanka is designated as the host? How big was that for your side?
Yeah, I think it was very big. UAE, I think we're ranked 12th in the world. And they've been playing some pretty good cricket, very well coached by Robin Singh. So to get in there and, we knew we had to win that last game to qualify. Our net run rate wasn't where theirs were, or Kuwait actually had a good win against Singapore the game before ours. So we knew nothing but, a victory was going to take us through to Dubai. And the guys played some very good cricket. I think it's probably the most complete game that we've played on tour from a batting, bowling and fielding point of view. And I think that reflected in the scores. I challenged a few of our senior guys to stand up and really lead the team. And, that was evident on the night. To come through there, beat a very good UAE team and to progress through the Asia Cup is something that, this playing group has certainly deserved. We haven't had a lot of luck in the last sort of 3 months we've been on tour, but we played very good cricket in Oman, great conditions to play cricket, and especially 20 over cricket. So, very much looking forward to what tomorrow night holds.
Looking at the performances of some of the players, I just wanted to rattle off some names. Ehsan Khan, Yasim Murtaza, the captain, Babar Hayat. These are some of the players who really stand out at most times for you, and also at the Asia Cup qualifier. How bigger performances have been these guys have been for you in these past few months?
Yeah, absolutely. You name those 4 players and you throw in Kinchit Shah as vice captain. They're probably the core group that I challenged to sort of stand up and lead the group over those 3 games throughout the qualifier, and they certainly did that. From a runs point of view, the skipper Nazaka Khan at the top and Yasim, who has been our 6th opening batsman with Nazaka on the tour so far. We've been struggling to try to find a pairing for him, but Yasim was outstanding going up top there, and I think the left-hand, right-hand combination is something that I think works well in T20 cricket. Bubba batting at 3, probably our best batsman, and I think probably the best batsman in associate cricket. So, he stood up, got some big runs, crucial runs, and especially in that last game, the way he finished the game off. obviously we speak about trying to get the game done as quickly as possible, and you don't want to take it into that 20th over. And him, the way he played in those last probably 10 to 12 balls of his innings were certainly dominant. Our bowling group, we've got some young quicks that have done very well throughout the tour, but you mentioned Ehsan and Yasim, two very experienced campaigners, and they've stood up throughout the whole 3 months, whether we've been on top or whether we've had to wrestle momentum back from oppositions. Generally, Nazakat as the captain would throw them the ball, and inevitably they would come through with the goods. So, they're going to be two big players for us. We obviously know India and Pakistan are very good players of spin. But these two guys are very, very good competitors, and have played a lot of high level cricket now. So to draw on their experience and try and I suppose get through that powerful Indian batting lineup will be something that we've spoken to those two guys about, and they're ready to take on the challenge.
Tell me something. 2018, when Hong Kong played against India, they gave India a real scare. Babar Hayat and Anshuman Rath at that time, and I know for a fact that many Indian supporters in the stands were really worried about the opening partnership between those two gentlemen. How much would you draw from that kind of a performance in this particular tournament?
Yeah, I think you can. Obviously, we've got a couple of players there. Nazakat scored runs that day as well. I think obviously T20 50 over cricket's a little bit different. I feel that the 20 over format brings the lesser teams into the picture a little bit more, and certainly, we'll be drawing on that tomorrow night. But I think that's a long time ago. The players have certainly progressed in their games on and off the field since that time, and we're playing probably a different style of cricket. So I think that, it's a little bit different, but certainly you can draw on those experiences and, how you went about your preparation and how you went about, the process throughout your innings or your bowling spell, and draw on that and use that information and use that experience to, help you get into that sort of mindset tomorrow night.
Not making it to the T20 World Cup, does the qualification for the Asia Cup make up for that disappointment?
Oh, it certainly does for the players. They've been away for 3 months now playing cricket, away from their families. There's 3 guys in the team that have had children since we've been away. So, that's the sort of commitment that this group offers to Cricket Hong Kong. We would have loved to have gone to a World Cup. I think that we could have, certainly been competitive in those games there. But, now to have this, I suppose it wouldn't be a substitute because you're still playing the same quality of teams, but it certainly shows these players that the hard work they're putting in is certainly paying off. And to have the opportunity to play against number 1 and 3 ranked teams in the world over a 3-day period is something very exciting and something that we're looking forward to.
You also missed out on the qualifier, the 50 over World Cup qualifier. These sort of misses, how do you lift the team in that sense?
Well, I think it's a simple thing. We obviously didn't have a lot of luck during the 50 over tournament. It sort of culminated in a lot of cricket coming at once, especially sort of the Jersey leg where we lost the last couple of games. So, that's obviously disappointing, and certainly from a Cricket Hong Kong point of view, it's something that we targeted and something that I was sort of brought in to try and get us back up to ODI status. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. But the exposure that an Asia Cup gives you, the exposure it gives to the players, it gives to the organisation, it certainly probably puts a Band-Aid over that scar, I reckon, for a while. But there's certainly something that we have to reflect on. And we probably need to, we certainly need to be better in our 50 over cricket. So, but at the moment, that's sort of on the back burner, and whatever the process and whatever the qualifications for the next round, we don't know yet what the ICC's decided. But, for the moment, we've got to focus on here, Asia Games, T20 cricket, and, two of the best sides in the world.
What after the Asia Cup for Hong Kong? What is the schedule like for Hong Kong?
Certainly boys will get some rest when they go back. We probably have, obviously our domestic cricket is just starting. We have a series called the All-Star Series, which we get our sort of best, I suppose, 40 players together. And we put them in 3 teams, and we'll play a T20 format and a 50 over format for that. I'm hearing there might be an emerging nations tournament being played. Obviously with us qualifying first to get into this Asia Cup, we'll probably be invited to that. So I believe that might be 20 over cricket. So that could be before Christmas. And then sort of heading into the new year, I think that, we'll wait to see what the ICC decides on the 50 over format. But, we'll be looking now that, Hong Kong's, probably relaxed a little bit of its quarantine rules, some bilateral series going somewhere in Asia. The opportunities to go and play cricket in UAE and Oman are very exciting for us because they're obviously two very good teams and ranked above us. We just see how it goes, but there's certainly things in the pipeline, nothing sort of concrete at the moment. But other thing is we'll have Asia Games next year, which is I think in September. So that'll be something to look forward to. And the guys, obviously that was postponed due to COVID this year. So there's some exciting cricket on the horizon, nothing concrete at the moment, but I think priority will be after this tournament is to go home, the boys have some rest and spend some time with their families and, recharge batteries and get into a bit of domestic cricket.
There's a lot of debate about 50 over cricket and its future. For teams like Hong Kong, how important is the 50 over format?
Oh, it's hugely important. It's at present, we don't play any multi-day cricket. It's only 50 over and 20 over cricket. So, we want to get back and play ODI cricket. We want to get back to World Cups. So the team's never made a 50 over World Cup. So it's certainly something that I'd like to target, the organisation like to target, and the players also. So, to get back in through that qualifying would be nice. And for us, 50 over cricket is probably not about making money or not about doing all that sort of stuff. It's more about exposing the guys to a longer format of cricket, being able to, batters to build an innings, bowlers to be able to work a batsman out and bowl a spell, and spend some time in the field. So it's, it's all a learning process for us, whether we're playing 50 over or 20 over cricket. And the more cricket we can get, the better we will become. Obviously before we started this tour, we didn't play cricket for 800 days, which is, a phenomenal amount of time not playing international cricket. So, people have to factor that in. We've been in lockdowns, 5 or 6 lockdowns in Hong Kong. So we haven't had access to training facilities or anything like that throughout that period, during periods of time. So the players to come out and perform like they have over the last 3 months, and now to have the opportunity here at the Asia Games, it's a great little sort of icing on the cake for these guys. And again, like I said, just to show them that the effort they're putting in, they're being rewarded for.
Your Hong Kong cricket, we used to hear about the Hong Kong Sixes at one point, and then Hong Kong Blitz. That's where someone like a Sandeep Lamechane came to the fore for the first time. How's the health of cricket in Hong Kong right now?
Yeah, I think it's very good. I think the participation's great. The women's game's going very well. We've got a lot of interest from the locals to play cricket. We've got multiple teams in the men's format. Excuse me, and then you've obviously got the women's. We have a lot of local cricketers that are actually playing in the national team there. So the competition's very good. Participation's great. We're getting into schools and raising the profile of the game. I think that. We still know that it's a minority sport in Hong Kong, but, to play tournaments like this and get the exposure that we have here now over the next few days, that'll only lift the profile and, give those people in the organisation that are trying to raise a profile, the sort of the tools and to go out there and sell the product. So, these next 2 games are huge for the organisation. And, we're not just going to come here to, be the whipping boys or something like that. We're going to be competitive. We've got good plans in place that we want to go against India and Pakistan. And, I think it's about the guys, that obviously be nervous and, probably a bit worried about playing against the best players in the world, but that's how you want to challenge yourself. It's about them being able to, I suppose, channel those nerves and, make that positive energy and go out there and try and execute. At the end of the day, it's one human versus another human, and you're not really there playing the game. It's about what your plans are, how we execute, and how we perform under pressure. Because it stages through the 40 overs when we play India and Pakistan. There is going to be times where we're under pressure, and it's how we react to that.
You spoke about 800 days without cricket. How frustrating was it for you as a coach?
Yes, it's very frustrating. We were sitting on Zoom sessions. The boys were doing, strength and conditioning sessions on Zooms. The boys are doing it. Apartments are not that big in Hong Kong, so guys are down in car parks underneath their buildings to get a bit of space, and they were in stairwells because their apartment wasn't big enough. So the efforts and the commitments those guys put in throughout that period were phenomenal. No whinging, no complaining. They just got it done. And unfortunately, we only have 3 grounds in Hong Kong. So and 2 of those are privately owned, and one's obviously owned by the government. So as soon as a lockdown comes in, we don't get access to those facilities. So, there was lots of periods of times where we didn't have any cricket. So we had to really play catch up, and, we trained hard, challenged the boys to sort of, accelerate their sort of learning process. And we sort of probably skipped a few of the basics to just try and get ourselves prepared and ready to go for the next format of cricket that we had. And, as a coach, you want to be spending time with the players and, helping them and develop their games. And unfortunately, through that period, that was sort of stop-start sort of process. So to be able to now, get away and play some cricket and see how the players have come along, especially since I've been there. It's just on 3 years since I arrived in Hong Kong, and it was effectively I was there for the first 6 months. 5 months of that we were playing cricket, and then we stopped, and now 3 months we're playing cricket again. So, I knew that at the back end of that first part, what we were trying to do and where I was trying to bring the players was the right way to go. And I can now see that again in this block. So the big thing is the more cricket we get, the more consistency our results will reflect, I suppose. And, being able to play as many competitive bilateral series or tri-series or qualifying tournaments can only help the playing group and only help the depth in Hong Kong cricket.
So basically, you're saying you haven't had enough time to teach them the chicken dance.
No. These guys, the chicken dance is retired. I've got a couple of dodgy hips, so that's all done and dusted.
So how do you do that this way?
Just with a bit of arms and a bit of hips. But
can you show it to us?
No, the chicken dance is retired now. I've passed it on to Ehsan Khan, so I've told him he has to do the dance when he's targeted Virat Kohli apparently in a social media that I read the other day. So I said, if you get Virat out, you've got to pull the chicken dance out. So I'm too old for that sort of stuff now.
And finally, Pakistan very well, 2007. No one forgets that match in the 2007 World Cup. That's a big match as well. What memories of that game from that 2007 World Cup for you?
Yeah, well, that was pretty amazing. That sort of put Irish cricket on the map, really. I think probably a couple of things stand out for me is obviously St. Patrick's Day. So, 2 teams in green playing each other and probably the greenest wicket of the tournament. So, and as captain, I only won 2 tosses that tournament. One was against Pakistan and one was against Bangladesh. So we won both those games. So if I could call right or I could toss the coin right, who knows? We might have been World Cup champions or something. So, but no, that was exciting times. You had sort of, a squad of 15 guys. You had 2 guys that were professional cricketers. Everyone else worked or was at uni. And, it's something that those guys and the support staff will always have those memories of. Spending 7 weeks in the Caribbean playing cricket is pretty phenomenal. And playing against all the teams that we played against. So it was, I think India was probably the only team that we never had a game against. So, it was just good times, a lot of hard work from the guys, a lot of commitment there. And it's quite similar to where Hong Kong is at the moment, guys will be sort of training, morning or mid-morning, and they'll be working before that or working after that to support their families. So it was the same sort of stuff. And so I sort of bring a lot of those learnings from that period of time into my role here. And, I had a great coach in Adrian Birrell through that period, and he taught me a hell of a lot about, structures and processes and those sorts of things. So it's not too dissimilar where I was as a player to now as a coach.
Have you picked up any Hindi or Urdu since you've been with the side?
Oh, there's a couple of little things I have, Assalamu alaikum, and then you obviously reply back Walaikum salam and Allah Hafiz, and there's a few bits and pieces. There's probably more colourful language from me that the boys have picked up than I've picked up from them. So I often sort of say, well, I don't often. Every now and again I would, probably say the wrong thing and then apologise. But no, the guys have been very good. I'm picking up little bits and pieces. I can sort of understand little bits and pieces what they're talking about, especially at training, because, you can see what they're trying to do and then their conversations around that. So, and, trying to get them to sort of communicate in English so I can hear and understand what they're talking about as well has been, it's been interesting. We have good times and we have bad times around that, but, listen, they're a great bunch of guys. And like I said, the commitment they've put in for the last 3 months has been phenomenal. And again, thank you to their families and, all their kids and those sorts of things that are missing their dads. And that sort of stuff, it's been a special 3 months, which will obviously be, the icing on the cake will be here against India tomorrow night and Pakistan on Friday.
Just tell me something. You spoke about Ireland. The players at that time were not professionals. What's the case with the Hong Kong boys? Are all of them professionals, or do they have day jobs as well?
They'd have day jobs as well. We have sort of delivery drivers. We have, cricket coaches. We have people in university. And we have probably, I think there's about a dozen contracted players at the moment. But obviously Hong Kong's one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. So unfortunately, the money the guys get through cricket, they have to supplement that. So I'm very aware of that because, again, I was in that situation back in 2007. So we get in and we really focus and really concentrate on our cricket when we're there, and give the guys enough time to go out and, earn some extra money and look after their families, which is the end of the day, which is the most important thing. So obviously exposures to tournaments like this, can increase funding, can increase sponsorship, which can only be good for the players. So, hopefully that'll happen. I know that quite a few people in the board are working very hard on making sure that happens for this group of players. And I must say the board's been very supportive. We talk about 800 days of no cricket, but the players are still paid through that period where, a lot of people were losing their jobs and, getting pay cuts and that. And the board stood firm and believed in the group and wanted to support the players through that. So the CHK board has been outstanding in that process. And, hopefully now with us giving them a little bit back here with the Asia Games, that they can cash in on that. And, we can all be sort of rewarded for the hard work we've put in.
Finally, you've lost a lot of players, lot as in four players for a country with not big player pool. A couple of players have gone off to their native countries. A couple of them have got banned. How difficult is it as someone who handles cricket for a small nation to look for the players, build the player pool in that sense?
Yeah, I think it's all about the domestic cricket, making sure those structures are right. Like I said, we have an all-star series, which sort of puts the bracket between sort of club cricket and international cricket. So they're playing more sort of high level, high intensity cricket throughout the season. And then it's just a matter of, getting around and, talking to club coaches and trying to help them out with their sort of structures and how they're going about, and talk to them about the way I want to play cricket, and hopefully they can transform that into their club stuff. And it's about identifying talent and bringing that talent through. So we have 6 guys that are under 20 on this tour at the moment. So to give them that exposure and to be hanging around with the likes of, Kohli's and Babar Azam and, these sorts of players, I think can only enhance their cricket. And it's about sort of having quality contact time with them, not wasting any minute or any second that you have with the players, always trying to teach them something or just get them learning about the game. I think is very important. And then, you'll have your odd player that sort of stays in Hong Kong and qualifies. So, they can obviously bring some experience and depth to the squad and to the structure. We still have quite a few guys that, are working in Hong Kong, but only available for certain tours. So I think we probably have a player pool of around 20 to probably 22 that we were looking at and identifying for each tour. Obviously injuries can hit that, unavailability can hit that. And at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you've just got to get on with it. And I think you've sort of got to put the players in a situation where it's either sink or swim. Especially throughout a 3-month tour like this, we've been very fortunate. We haven't had too many injuries. We've certainly had a lot of illness along the way, and we've had those sorts of things. But when I've challenged the players to get up and, get out of bed and play cricket when they don't want to, they've done that. So this group's pretty resilient. It's very committed. And, you know, this is a perfect sort of, I suppose, present for these guys at the end of a long tour, is to be able to play the number 1 and 3 ranked teams in the world.
Final question. Can Hong Kong beat India and Pakistan?
Well, if we don't beat India, then we only have to beat Pakistan. So I'll take one of those games. Listen, like I said many years ago when Ireland went and played the World Cup, we need to play the games of our life. We need to be on for 40 overs. We can't slip up for any amount of time during that period. We need to execute our plans. We need to believe that we can beat these guys. And we need a lot of luck. And at the end of the day, we're very confident about going in there and being competitive. And T20 cricket, if anything, is going to bring those lesser teams back to the bigger boys. So we're going to go in there with good, clear plans, try and execute them. And at the end of the day, if that's not enough, well, then we walk away happy. But, you know, I remember saying back in 2007, you just never know what can happen in cricket. So players can have an off day, you can have a good day, things can go your way, and all of a sudden the result turns out in your favour. So, you know, we know it's going to be a huge mountain to climb, but, you know, I've got 17 players here that are willing to put their body and, you know, and commit the whole process to, you know, achieving that goal. So, you know, I'm very lucky to have these guys in and around me. And, you know, I'd be very proud to see them walk out, you know, and play India tomorrow night.
Thanks a lot, Trent. Thanks for your time, and hope you have very good games in the tournament, and keep doing well in the tournament.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.